everyone, it's Lisa Brown with InkandInspirations.com. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! And in this video I wanted to share a little mixed media greeting card idea with you. In my recent stamp club locally, I had one of my dear friends, Alicia, design a mixed media card front that we could play around with in Stamp Club. And this is her example, and she's prepared a lot of the pieces for me, but I just want to show you my take on it and the products that I used. This video won't be in real time. I will work a little bit, tell you about it, and pause and come back because the process of drying and designing and deciding what I'm going to use will take a little time. So I hope you'll hang in there with me, and let's get started. I have a piece of designer series paper. This is the celebration from this year, and this is the last day to place an order for celebration where you can earn this sweet sorbet paper. And it's cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and then there's some little curly heel-like designs that are cut here that I've already adhered with one of our glue sticks. You don't have to wait for drying. It gives real good coverage, and it's down there. Now, to get our base prepared, we're going to use some gesso, and I've just got some acrylic gesso here that I bought at a craft store locally. And I'm going to take a paintbrush and just apply a pretty thick coat all over the top of this. And you can leave some of the print showing through, but I want to get a good coverage because that'll allow it to take my spritzers and everything else that I want to put on top a little better. So I'm working on a craft sheet here. I think it's from Ranger. It's just one I have. Stampin' Up! Doesn't have a craft sheet like this. If you don't have one, you could use like a scrapbook page sleeve, you know, how it's slick and you could clean it off. Just something that you can wipe off and protect your surface. Okay, so I'm going to get this good and coated, and then to speed up the process a little bit, I'm going to heat it with my heat tool, and I will be right back when it's dry. Okay, I'm finishing up drying my piece. And if it wants to curve on you, hit it on the back a little bit and it'll make it flatten out. But I didn't seem to have too much of a problem because I have a pretty heavy coat of gesso on there. But you can see that I can still see the print a bit through there, and you can see the texture formed by the curved lines of these cut pieces. And I have a little bit of dollop right there that I like. It's just a little bit of texture. And I think the beauty of mixed media is that there is no right or wrong. It's a mixture of different mediums and textures and inks or paints and just whatever you have to make a very unique project. Okay, now I'm going to do some spritzing. So I'm getting a protective box here so it doesn't get all over my work surface. And I have a greenish, I took some, one of our Stampin' spritzers and a greenish color re-inker, which really is a blue. This is Pool Party that's in here, I believe. And I've got alcohol. And there's a little bit of water too, that we started with water and then I switched to alcohol because it dries so much quicker. And I'm going to spray this along the bottom and not worrying about being too exact. I want to see which way my spritz is going to go. And just spray down here for my grass. Okay. And then I'm going to take my... I'm going to turn that, and you can see it's pooling a little bit there, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I've got a yellow here. This is a retired re-inker in here. I believe it was Yo-Yo Yellow from a long time ago, but I think Summer Starfruit would be beautiful on this. So I'm just going to see which way direction I'm spraying and get my sun there, my sunshine. And then I have some Island Indigo. And I'm going to spray that for my sky. I'm going to let that run down a little bit. And it's good to have paper towels, wipies, and to keep your hands clean and your work surface clean and to soak up any ink or water or liquid that you have running around. Okay, so here we go with the blue. Okay, it's beating up a little bit. I think that's because I have water in it too. Okay, if I were to do this to make my re-inker, I would totally do a alcohol, and mine is 70%, and the re-inker. So I'm just going to I think I'm going to blot that up a little bit and let that dry. And you can see that it's just going to make a really pretty background there. It's just different, almost abstract. I love it. It's so much fun to play with this. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. Then I'm going to look at it and see if I want to spray some more and get it darker, and then I'll be back for the next step. Okay, now that I finished drying, I wanted to tell you, you can see it's much darker now than when I had previously recorded. I stopped the video, I put some more re-inker drops, the refill drops, into my Island Indigo and Pool Party spritzers, and I just went to town with it. And it's splotchy, but I love that effect. And I love how the little paper piecing down here gives texture and definition, and that made the ink go wacko, and I love that. Okay, so remember, it's however you want it to look. No two projects are going to look the same. That's what I had to impress upon my stamp club. It didn't have to look exactly like the sample, just have fun with it. So kind of reminds me of Van Gogh's Starry Night. I know nowhere close, but that's what I felt like anyway. So the next thing I'm going to do is do some paper piecing. And my friend Alicia she freehanded most of these little pieces. It makes a little house and little windows. So I'm going to be using my glue stick from Stampin' Up! And applying these pieces right here on the card front. And I also have two little curly Q pieces that are going to be like two little flowers in the field, and I'm going to apply them as well. So I'm going to just put that right there, little house on the hill, and try to get good coverage with the glue stick all along the back. You know, and our other adhesives would stick well, but with this you don't have to wait for drying time before your next step if you're going to layer anything else. So I'm just going to put that here. Let's see, I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to put on my door and my windows, and I will be right back. Okay, I have my pieces glued on, my little house, windows, door, and flowers. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of stamping, and I'm using this little lantern banner from the Happy Congratulations set that's in the Occasions catalog. And I'm going to use Jet Black StazOn ink and just stamp it along the top edge of my piece up here over the sun and the sky, just to add some fun interest. I need to re-ink my StazOn pads. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to like that. Oh, cool. Love that. Okay, and then let's see. We used a little heart on in clubs, so I'm going to do the same thing. This heart is from the Banner Blast set from Celebration. And again, today is the last day to make a Celebration purchase. Just going to stamp a little red heart there. Oh, that's cool. It has a little hole in the middle because of the, I say a hole, the little sun shone through the center there because of the texture of the gesso underneath. Love it. Okay. Then I'm going to take a couple of the images from the Gorgeous Grunge set. And let's see, I closed up that StazOn and I need it. I'm going to have to clean those stamps right away. You know, StazOn has a special cleaner. So you want to be sure and clean those. And we just kind of put some little, call these tire tracks. There. Just fun, just for fun. Okay, let's see. I need to have a slip. I'm going to have my surface all dirtied up. Okay, but that's okay. Okay, put a little sidewalk down there. And Maybe one more right here. And then I'm going to take the little dots and put a few on here like this. Okay, I'm going to clean my stamps right now and then come back and show you the next step. Okay, here's our progress so far. I went ahead and took that Gorgeous Grunge little splotch stamp and this one right here and inked it up in red and put some red splotches there too to just add a little bit more color. And now I want these little circles here to be a little bolder, so I'm going to take my Island Indigo ink pad and a sponge dauber, and you could use your finger for this, but I'm trying not to make too big of a mess. I'm just going to fill in right here the little circles just to make them a little bolder. And you can put as much or little as you like. And you know, you could always use, you know, squirt a little bit of re-inker on your surface here and stick your finger in it and do the same thing. All right. Okay, so there we go. I like how that looks. Now the next part just is going to be a little time consuming, so I won't do it totally on camera, but I'm getting, this is a journaling marker that we used to have from Stampin' Up. You need a fine tip, fine point permanent marker. And you know, just, you could even use your Stampin' Right marker because it'll do fine over this with the gesso underneath. And I'm going to outline all my paper pieces, and I'm going to do some doodling. Doodling is really in right now, not just on mixed media, but in anything that you do. And you know, you can do as much or as little as you like. So I'm going to just carry on here and add some more things, and I'll come back and tell you what I've done. I'm going to swirl around my little flowers, and then I'll be back and just describe what I've done for you. Okay, so here's my finished piece. I wanted to show you what I did. I drew in the stems and leaves for my little flowers and did lots of doodling and tracing all over, just where I felt like it. Did that with that black fine point pen. And then I took my white gel pen and then just did some doodles and squiggles around and some little dots across the page. I kind of scribbled down here like this is a little sidewalk, and I had done that Gorgeous Grunge stamp right there too, so that kind of mimicked the sidewalk. And I had an old piece from Hodgepodge Hardware, if you remember that, when Stampin' Up! Carried that, and I just slipped that on, and it is ready to mount onto the front of the card. What I've learned from doing this piece this time is that, and it was impressed upon me by Alicia, that make sure that your previous layer is completely dry before you start the next layer on top. Whether that doesn't mean just paint, but like on these flowers here, they were very light, and I took my red sponge dauber and inked that up a little bit in Island Indigo there. And then when I tried to do the little white gel pen dots, the ink was still a little damp, and so it didn't want to work as well. So I hit it with my heat tool, and it was much easier. So be sure you let your layers dry before you put the next layer on top. Okay, so if you'd like to see more of these mixed media type projects, leave me a comment here on YouTube or over on my blog. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's something fun, something a little different, and I will see you all again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.